How's it going? Good. Yeah. What's up?
Well, I was thinking, so this is the guy who's doing all the tech stuff, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can just actually no, maybe change. I kill it all. I kill all this.
Okay.
Sorry to like.
It's okay. No, it's okay. Screen sharing is on for everyone. Yeah. Screen sharing's good. Laura Booth. Who's Laura Booth? Why is she entering here? Yeah. Into our Zoom event. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual Spooky B-Day Bash. Things are a bit different than how we would normally be celebrating. We are all adjusting to this new normal and so glad that you could join us safely this evening. We begin this event by acknowledging the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, whose traditional territory we are gathered on. We have some awesome acts tonight to entertain. Everyone participating has donated their time and energy to pull off this event, so we encourage you to tip your entertainers. Their Venmo handles will be displayed during their sets, so sit back, enjoy the festivities, and party on from your couch. Our first few acts tonight are Michaela Chan, Karsten Brooks, Commotion Dance Theater, and Elizabeth Johnston.
Hi.
Mick, you're not up yet.
Okay. Hi. So I'm Michaela.
No, Mick, you're not up yet.
Woo!
Sorry, you're number 4. So in the order that I read people, you're up.
God. But on the streaming party, it has me on.
Sorry, just pause for a second. Oh, it does have you up. Pause for a second. Oh, wait, you are up. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, no worries. Okay. So if you, yep. Okay. Sorry guys, we're all new at this. So I'm Michaela. I am going to I'm a studio member at the Yards, and I'm looking forward to reading to you for about 5 minutes from my in progress but nearly finished graphic novel. You can find out more about my work at www.michaelachan.com and contact me through that site for more information. We'll start from the top. Okay. So this is the table of contents of participation. We're going to read the first 2 chapters. Iris meets a person named Talk, and Iris moves the rats. And then we're going to jump to a chapter 10, a lunchtime meatball tastes vile. Iris meets a person named Talk. Embedded among the process, you and I tessellate, but neither of us is enough to see the pattern. "10,000 pipes contour the corridors. They carry water, power, words, and vacate ash to out of doors. You're thinking of Talk as you sit. Forgetting me is not yet a forced habit. The timer provises your next imperative. You circle your lab to gather equipment. You tuck the vials of chow into a plain brown bag, then find your keys and badge. Strictly enigmatic entrances connect the quotidian hospital to basement vivariums. Tile anticipates your footfall, but rooms that stud both sides gulp all echo and exchange at thresholds. The scurry of feet over shredded bedding or cacophonies of birds like excerpts from the tropics. The click and turn of key sets your colony shivering. A child does better to learn if you are good to me, then I'm good to you. No such seesaw claims to teeter between you and the research creatures. Chapter 2. Iris moves the rats. You need to move the trial rats to fresh cages. Predictably, they burrow into the feeding tunnel that imparts a sense of refuge. Though you've never been bit, you shrink as you venture for decisive grip. You pull. Don't dangle him by tail tip. His spasms would cause him to spin and rip. You replace him in an identical box, sustain the motions for rows and rows of luckless animals. Number 8 clings, screams, breaks a nail, bleeds. You offer him, cowering and damp, an extra marble, the only comfort and apology available. Their suffering is incidental, no, instrumental. Relief is scheduled, 12 weeks till harvest. Yesterday, today, and 12 weeks of tomorrows, you fill their water bottles and dole out chow laced with specific doses of a substance you cannot yet call poison or remedy. Before you leave, you pull one from the cycle population. She tucks herself on your elbow. The hands of the broken clock sputter at 11 and 5. You train your eyes below the mechanical cadaver. So now we'll skip to the middle. And we're picking it up at chapter 10. And because I can't really do dialogue super well with just me, I guess I'm picking sections that are mostly narration. Chapter 10, a lunchtime meatball tastes vile. You practice the technique of collecting blood. The dose of the euthanasia cocktail is important. The heart needs to beat, but the animal needs to be thoughtless. Slowly press the plunger in. Wait 40, 90, 100 seconds for him to quit staggering. You lay the limp thing out. You dig your nail into his paw and note the absence of response. You unsheath the butterfly clip, puncture his heart, and drain his blood. The hollows of long bones hatch stem cells whose malleable fate renders rat legs extraordinarily valuable. You process your cargo in filtered air. Your chambered hands catch the life that remains. Now you think of me. Thank you for watching, and happy birthday to the yards! Woo!
Hello, can you hear me? That was great, Michaela. Great drawings, great story. My name is Karsten. I have known the Yards, have been part of the Yards for quite some time now. I did a residency. I forget how long ago that residency was now, probably 5 or 6 years, I'm guessing. And yeah, Yards is a really great organization that I'm glad exists, and Christina is doing a really great job with it. This whole organization is wonderful. I'm going to play some music. How long do I have, Kay? 10 minutes. Great. Cool. It doesn't have a title. It doesn't have a name or anything. It's just kind of an exploration. And Yeah, enjoy. Thanks.
Hi. So that was super cool. My name's Elizabeth Johnston. I am a member of Straw Mat Writers in Rochester with a couple of other awesome writers, Angelique Stevens, Maria Brandt, Pamela Amy Murphy. I'm going to start tonight reading to you some political satire, so I hope you're ready for that. I thought we'd do some funny stuff, and then I'm going to switch to a couple of poems. Was I muted that whole time? We lost audio? Where'd we lose audio? How far? Do I need to start all over? I need to start all over? I can't hear anybody. I'm good.
You can start where you're about to do the readings. We got the intro.
Okay, no intro. All right, I'm going to share my screen then.
We lost audio.
So, give me a second here while I do this. All right, so I'm going to start with a piece that I wrote recently, a couple years ago during the Brett Kavanaugh trial, when Trump said that it was a scary time for men. I wrote a piece that was 10 top scary movies for men. This is 10 monster movies to scare the pants off Republicans, and it's based on Trump's remarks that Kamala Harris is a monster. So I did some slides for you. Had to go with the fly, right? So the synopsis is, something goes horribly wrong when a homophobic vice president inserts himself into an experiment in which he tries to debate a woman who is not his wife. Unaware his genes have been fused with the poor fly that is trapped on stage with him and has mistaken him for a corpse, the vice president now finds himself slowly transforming into a red-eyed, toothless creature known as pencil fly. But since he was already in the habit of clinging to walls and word vomiting, no one notices the difference. Comzilla, Queen of the Monsters. The administration is thrown into a panic when their ship, when their ship sinks in the poles and racist monuments are toppled and smashed. In disbelief, the commander sends his spies in search of alternative facts, only to discover that I can't see. Only to come face to face with the left-winged, 5'2" intellectual monster whom the natives call Comzilla. You'll be cowering in the corner, covering your eyes as she calmly and methodically tears down barricade after barricade of bullshit. I'm having a hard time moving there we go. All right, invasion of the party snitchers. The White House finds itself mysteriously infiltrated by an invisible alien organism capable of imitating a Trump loyalist. They try to root out the whistleblowing snitch, but their paranoia threatens to tear them apart as it becomes increasingly apparent that they don't know which members of their party have already been assimilated by a supernatural force too powerful to fight. The truth. This is one of my favorites, Poltergeist. Strange happenings beset the family at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue when a crazy banshee begins to commune with voters through Twitter. At first, she appears friendly to the family, transmitting meaningless static. However, she soon turns nasty, unleashing a frenzy of insults at Donald as the rotting corpses of his taxes erupt from under him. The Host. A fiendish spirit of honesty has taken possession of most of the country's journalists, leaving only small pockets of sycophantic reporters scattered throughout Fox News. During his final debate, Donald finds his time has been claimed by the moderator, a spirit who has been warned of the difficulties that come with giving the president free rein to blather on. You might remember this one, the Drain the Swamp Thing. In this campy Technicolor thriller, a laboratory accident transforms a brilliant scientist into an unlikely superhero who emerges from the depths of the swamp to save the world from the machinations of an egomaniacal madman. And this is my absolute favorite. It's called Let the Left One In. In this most terrifying of films, the beleaguered American people fall in love with Kamala, the girl next door who has appeared just in time to save them from a big bully. But first she needs to be invited in. Hope we invite her in. Okay, so I should go back for a second. So thank you for listening to that. That was just a little bit of silliness. So I do satire and I also do poetry. My background's actually in 18th and 19th century literature. And so a lot of my poetry is informed by that. And you're going to hear echoes of the famous literature that I love. And I'm especially interested in iconic women. And so in this next one, I wrote this maybe 11 years ago or so. And I was in the middle of a divorce at the time. And I was teaching Goblin Market, and I was thinking about, I was selling things off at a garage sale and prepping to teach Goblin Market. And so this poem, which is partly autobiographical, came to me. It's called Garage Sale, after Christina Rossetti's 19th century poem, Goblin Market. When my man leaves me for another, tired, ancient story, her flaxen hair and moonlit face, his parrot voice and tramping pace, I put up all for barter, must not loiter in these haunts. My heart's turned goblin dark and sore, I cry my wares from dawn till dusk, come by, come by. Bed frame and racket, snow globe, man's jacket, picture frames, vases, matching suitcases, clippings he saved me, gold ring he gave me, sheets we made love in, daughter and son in. In time we will find what fruit falls from vine, whether junk turns to treasure, whether grief can be tendered, the coin love has cost, the debt I still owe. But for now, I'm counting out change and wrapping what's fragile, watching strangers slink away with those things that were mine. Keep going too fast. I should have put like a slide in between to kind of be blank. So this next one, if you know Lady of Shalott, I was teaching Lady of Shalott to my students and also teaching some Emily Dickinson a little bit later. And I decided that I wanted to queer the Lady of Shalott, give her a different story. And one of my favorite children's stories, I think I wrote this when my children were small actually, is Where the Wild Things Are. By Maurice Sendik. And so I decided what would happen if I put them all together. So this is what happened. Where the Wild Things Were. When long ago he wore her down, and wanting love, she promised vows. A forest grew inside her bower, a web of vines, so many flowers, the walls a world around her turned, for wild things no longer yearned, and she saw only shadows, in the mirror only ghosts. Till one day from far away she heard a song, a wild, dark, and drowning song. And then she knew, as some wives do, a curse was on her if she stayed. And so she crept to Siren's shore, unloosed a boat and rowed unmoored into the noises of the night. So buoyant was her sense of right, so desperate was her moonlit flight. Now done with compass, done with chart, led only by her thrumming heart, she sailed through months and weeks and days, through parted willows, fields laid waste, until at last she found that place where creatures horned and snaky-haired dance a wild rumpus. And she thought not of right or wrong, at last was certain she belonged among the howling, sharp-toothed throng, the triple-headed, beastly strong. She stayed awake the whole night long. She ate their feasts and sang their songs, and to the cadence clapped along, and she knew all the words because once even she was wild. But when he found her empty room, the mirror cracked, the lonely loom, the water lily's wild bloom, his heart grew faint. He flashed his sword, he swore an oath and called his horse and rode down to the sea, of course. For prince or no, he needed her to love him best of all. He followed and he found her there. Her eyes were black and loose her hair. She sang in tongues, she raged, she raved. But he was strong and he was brave and knew the words to break the spell, to ward off wild, to make her well. And so he took her hand and cooed, "But what is here? And who are you to moor in such a wild space, this tender heart, this lovely face, this dark and darker savage place?" His dinner cold and left for waste back home where she belonged. And though she gnashed her teeth and cried and roared her roar and rolled her eyes and even tried her song to sing, was a terribly futile thing. He did not blink, but said, "Be still," and tamed her with his trick. Yes, we know how the story goes, the bride who runs, the girl who roams, how in his arms he'll bring her home, like Peter to his pumpkin shell, like Jacob with his bride and veil, like Hades to his ghastly hell, and in his tower keep her well, and sometimes let her story tell his wild thing he loves. And that is it for those, of course, were famous paintings of the Lady of Shalott and another one of some witches dancing. So thank you so much for listening.
Whoa, those were some awesome sets. If you're joining us and aren't aware, we have been fundraising all month long. Our goal is to reach $9,000 and we are so close, but could use your help to close the gap in the final days of the month. If you want to support the space, follow the link posted below. It'll be in the comments. Every contribution means the world to our arts community. We also have an auction going on with over 80 items to bid on, so don't forget to check that out. Now back to the entertainment. Next up, we have Forever's, Albert Abandano, and The Cursed Idols. Enjoy.
Choking on the oxygen again, I wanted to stay there. Rather hear the cadence of your voice than be able to breathe. I'm stuck in bed counting backwards, it's impossible. So damn impossible to leave. In the autumn, displays in a school that's run by Jesuits.
How about you go to YouTube and I'll go to
4
Facebook.
hours away, you can hitch there if you're into it. Up 1,000 flights of stairs, you'd roll around Orion Hill. Under cops around in the dark, we would pass and pass out, if you will. Believing when we found, but the courage was all downtown. Past the bars and Wakeby Star, better lately than be warm. All the neighborhoods are all back town, feeling shirts and call back round. I was forced to leave it shore. Believe it's round people. Oh, anthropology, ideology, politicizes what I'll never be. Oh, on Wednesday I did finally back and forth is bubbling. Biology, bad biology. Would you breathe and force me over me? In a post I won now down, an hour and a half of your bad poetry. Oh, even I wouldn't listen to me. Even I wouldn't listen to me. Even I. find the time for us to hang. Remember when we were a brand new thing, like the way the pavement smells after rain. Can we finally talk about that couch? The way the registers will hiss too much. Eventually our knees begin to touch. Hold it up, let it fall. Hold the band began to play. Trampoline, a simple machine. If it gets you in the air, in the air. Time the ice is frozen waves. Fortunate enough to be here days. In early spring there's a layer on this lake. Make no mistake. Hold it up, let it fall. Hold the band began to play. Can't you see? We're simple machines. It's the way we've always been. Always been. On the same place. We'll all hang out, end of this race, on the same place. We'll all hang out, the end of this race, on the same place. We'll all hang out, the end of this race, on the same place. On the same place, we all hang out. All right, happy birthday, the Yards. As usual, we didn't bring gifts, but just trust us that we're very happy for the birthday. Here we go. I need the sun to burn off this morning. You need the moon, keep yourself cool. We need the stars, keep us in orbit. This fragile orbit, circle back around, circle back around. Us informed now. Let's steal a map so we can stay lost. We need stars, keep us in orbit. This fragile orbit, circle back around. I can't be in this gravity. Go back around. I can't be in this gravity, so let's just rest. Then we'll lay here on the ground. I can see electricity as it contacts clouds. Then we'll wait here on the ground, circle back around. Circle back around. Circle back around. Circle back around.
Hi, everybody. My name is Albert Abonado. I would like to take a moment to wish the Yards a happy 9 years. The Yards has been a really important place to me, and I know to many other artists in the community. So I think it's important to continue to support these vital spaces for our community so that they can continue to thrive, especially during these uncertain times. With that said, I'm going to read a few poems from my collection, Jaw, and I hope you enjoy. The first poem I'll read is Luxury. Today, I do not think about death, not the brittle skulls of children, or the metal in their blood that passes for bullets. I do not think about the bones of birds, or the blackberry seeds left in the belly, the time a muscle takes to go blue from a deflated lung, not the bright jaws of insects that come for the flesh, the meat. I do not think of grief as the color on my aunt's tongue, her face a country of fires. I do not think about kissing my grandfather in his coffin, not the temperature of his lips. Today, I lose count. Forget about sorrow and its teeth, regret and its prickled skin, how to pray for the dead I do not have to bury, that hymns turn my mouth into a sun, that terror can be the same word for skin or brain. Forget I do not speak Chinese or have to correct anyone who asks if I speak Chinese. Say no, I am afraid I am Filipino. Say, I do not speak Tagalog either. I do not ask anyone to forgive me for forgetting, and this is the oldest joy. Let me forget that I cannot hold the moon to feed it peppers when I want, that the rain in the trees is not a rapture, an applause for the rose on my shoes, that I do not blister and crack from holiness. Today I am holy. And when I split my lip on the fist of my brother that was holy too, and when I kneel in the center of an empty parking lot, I do so grateful I can taste my blood. This is grandfather as a kaiju on fire. So if you don't know what a kaiju is a Japanese movie monster. So if you are familiar with the Godzilla movies, for example, that is what a kaiju is. A year later, your body still burns, still sends your skin up as embers and gives the sky its disposition. When we point towards the horizon and say, "This is the color of our grandfather," we do not know for how long the night will carry your shade, or what winds brought you here, once dormant in a starless chamber close to our volcanoes. The day you fell, dragged down by the imaginations of engineers, we tasted your smoke, pocketed hairs that wrapped our throats, the tooth we ground into fertilizer. Jealous, you became a powder that made strangers virile. Science did not think of you as a body to bury, but a house made of flames. When asked about the sound of your collapse, how the dust peaked after your body went slack, we said we knew him mostly by his fire, by the blood that could not be lit. The ghost root. My mother can strip the meat off any chicken bone, leave nothing but a hinge, no trace of ligament, nor evidence that what she pinches between her teeth once supported an entire architecture of feather and seed. She does not stop there, can split the bone too, suck the marrow, the sweetest part. This is how she loves, offers my father a taste until he too is sharpened by her appetites. How do they know when to stop? When the bone has nothing left to give. My family says I do not know the proper way to finish a meal, that I leave too much for others to reclaim, treat them as if they come laced with a wild poison. I have seen my mother take from my plate every discarded knot of muscle and make them into a rosary. Here is where the ghosts take root, where the spirit composes itself. The blood assembling in places light is the most absent. I watch my mother work the last scraps, shape her mouth into something so nimble it can make ribbons from the smallest nerve before breaking it. So these poems were from my collection Job, but I'm going to read a couple of others that were not in the collection. And these are... The first poem is "The God I Know Eats with Its Hands." When the God I know wears my skin, it stretches out the sleeves for more room, eats chicken adobo with its hands, drags a hunk of rice across the plate to soak up the vinegar. The God I know complains all the time about the shape of my mouth, wants to know how I learned to spell with a tongue like this. I apologize to my God. I never imagined a mouth besides this one. I asked the God about the rules to Mahjong, about the fires that burned a town, but not a small wooden boy in a pine box. In a house full of gods, all the children are made of wood. Lord, you curved stars into metatarsals, knotted the cells behind my mother's breast before the doctors harvested them, built a peach from the sun. I have my own tricks, can make my skin so transparent my neighbors see my heart glisten before I disappear. I can shrink until I am no larger than a nail clipping, than the fibers of a wool sweater reduced to a single orange stripe. Lord, I can teach you how to carry the volcanoes your parents dreamed about. the fields of blueberries, the men who stop you at night and ask you to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I can even cleave myself in two. Will let you touch those seams. Lord, let me show you how I float, how I levitate small fruit when I am hungry and cannot reach anything. And this will be my final poem. Thanks again for listening. From the trees full of birdsong come unripe fruit. After Rick Barat. How I start a prayer. With the same hand I use to lift food to my mouth, I draw a line down to my navel, pulling a zipper or curtain string to reveal the small wolf in my belly, the one I feed fat and vinegar. This is also how I pray. At 11, I leapt off the awning of my house. It was autumn, and everything that surrounded me collapsed back into the dirt. I wanted to practice my falling, feel the earth bend beneath my arrival, convinced I would not break. When my mother prays in her garden after the surgery on her arm and neck, I listen to her bones grinding against her skin. She plants tulips, brushes a root from her hair, slices for dinner that evening the garlic and onions she will saute in a wok with ground beef. And this, too, is a prayer. My father rolling up his sleeve to reveal the long scar on his arm to a room full of strangers at the garage where they kept the wreckage of his car. A prayer about the flesh around a knuckle and the alloys the body will not reject. By prayer, I mean I read the same poem over and over until my hair becomes sloppy with poem, that I eat it slowly until it coats my mouth. All of my prayers begin with hunger. A prayer in the shape of cold fried chicken at my uncle's wake and the blood stew I fail to replicate. My wife wants to know why I reduce my poems to something that fits in my mouth. I don't tell her I buried my relatives in my throat, that my prayers belong to other voices. When I pray, I can't hear my acid reflux gurgle, but the trees full of birdsong, the tires hiss as they pass over a wet road. This is a prayer full of rain and fog, weather soaked through my old shoes, the thin fabric that contains the storm beneath my feet. If by prayer we also mean the stories that we did not know came before us, then this is also a prayer. My father, stepping away while they lowered his father into the ground, as we tossed white flowers onto his coffin. The hour in which my brothers and I turned to one another and asked, "Where did he go? What is he doing now?" Thanks again for listening, and happy birthday, Yards.
Wow, I have goosebumps. Those sets were horrifyingly good. You want to know what else is horrifying? Some of the contest submissions we received. Time to announce the winners that will be getting this limited edition screen print by Kara Teague. It's also available through our GoFundMe, so go check that out. First up, we have our pumpkin contest. The winner is Claire Britt. Second up, we have our human costume contest. The winner is Lori McFarlane, who is serving us some mermaid realness. And then third, we have our much anticipated pet costume contest. The winner is Emily Harper with RBG Kitty, but we do have a runner-up in this category, Mary Rockcastle with the spooky ghost dog Jane. Thank you for everyone who participated. Up next, we have Boy Jr. and Fuzzrod.
You look at me across a room. I'd like to hide, but I stare back at you. It's 3 a.m. I can't close my eyes. I'm daydreaming for my life, sitting pretty at the back of the stage, not in my head, yes, even though I know I should run away, pick apart my reflection for days, wish it was more commonplace to love the rolls on my waist. I'm awake. I like my wit. Do I make you laugh? One of the guys with the better ass. I'm awake, sitting pretty at the back of the stage, not in my head, yes, even though I know I should run away, pick apart my reflection for days, wish it was more commonplace to love the rose on my waist. I'm awake. Why can't I give myself rest, baby? Oh, not in my head, yes, even though I know I should run away, pick apart my reflection for days, wish it was more commonplace to love the rolls on my waist. Hey, I'm awake.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Happy birthday to the Yards. It is 9 lives of the Yards, and I've been seeing a lot on the internet about Catboys, so I wanted to be included. Today I'm coming to you live as Catboy Jr. I've got 2 more songs for you, and they're all off of my album called Starter Pack that you can listen to everywhere music is sold or streamed or illegally downloaded, because we like options. Bum ba bum 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 bum. This is 17.
It's way too late now, but come on over. We can talk until we can't see the light between us. I've been lying to myself. We fall asleep, bursting at the seams, tired from our dreams. No, I can tell it's all temporary, but it doesn't mean
Does that sound really sad per se, or is it just like a slow jam? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's sad, actually. I would say it's melancholy, nostalgic, with a hint of oakiness, and maybe a little bit of citrus. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It still fits. It still fits. It still fits. Alright, okay, it still fits. A Pikachu t-shirt, it still fits. I'm really, really happy, look at this. A Pikachu t-shirt from when I was a kid. A Pikachu t-shirt, it still fits. It still fits.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope you were terrified by the talent of our performers. Again, we hope you'll continue to support the Yards in the year ahead. As we look back at the past 9 years, there are so many wonderful connections and beautiful memories that have been created here. We hope to continue to be a hub for emerging artists in the years to come. We're going to end the night with a chilling short film by our residency alumni, the Velvet Noose. Enjoy.
High. The costs of living.
The weight of your love could drown the infant inside me. A subtle gift of sanguine relief, tender, you, with nods to heart center. Courage, I dance for you, and for peace. For fear is not welcome here. Fear is the mind killer. The little death. The dune, a gathered mass of hatchlings, simple and featherless. The place we go when all is lost. Our delicate shell, hopeless, terrible mind, beclouded with unknown worry. Before you, in this place we inhabit, the self. After, memories of tangential worship, the self. To find presence and peace, the self. All swallow the mass of little quaking ambitions. Swallow the mass, swallow ambition, heading toward unknown fear. Thoughts like a prayer. Leaving the beauty of now and entering forever's onyx nothing. For a perfect forever is a place you may never see. Swallow the mass. Your surely strength will weaken as light. Your mind will leave you with nothing. Swallow fear. Your heart will break. The little death inside you matches the little death inside me.
The Minotaur dreams of bargains struck. Dreams. Brave young Theseus, golden boy, butcher extraordinaire. Theseus, deep in the labyrinth, comes face to face. Umbilicated hero, bound by fate, bound by love, bound by the filament of mislaid want. Comes face to face in the chambered pit, hewn out of darkness. The chisel and rasp, tools of deceit. Crafted from the planks and bones of mendacity, Theseus comes face to face with the asthmatic huff and the pernicious snout of desire, rendered pure. The byproduct, hobbled from shame and hidden away until Theseus comes face to face with the Minotaur. Theseus barters for his life. In the labyrinth, all deals are shady. Skullduggery holds sway. From the front door, ashen Theseus puts on a good face, touts his victory, the monster to market. While from the back, the Minotaur skulks into a tepid eternity. High, the costs of living. High, the costs of living.
Thanks again for tuning in. Follow the link in our bio to be able to continue donating to the yards and supporting us. I want you all to be safe this weekend. Wear a mask, wash your paws, and don't forget to vote. Thank you so much. We miss you all.